Let's see this epilogue, I guess. I'll watch every ending. I'll just record them separately.
And so it ended.
Not yet,
A
though.
tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of
Yes, I know.
Howard.
That's what you keep saying with you. I assume the small...
New divine rose.
Yeah.
True heir to the Seven, more powerful than ever, and united Rivellon in its battle against the Void. All across the realm he was loved, worshipped and adored. Humans, lizards, elves and dwarves all rallied to his banner.
Hooray,
Great
Faye!
allegiance stood once more, but the war continued. From the depths of the Void, the God King still sought to return.
Looks like you can never actually get rid of the God King.
As for me,
Yes.
I was freed of the God King's
okay.
terrible tyranny. I avoided an eternity of pain and suffering.
You're lucky.
Now I fight for the other side. Now I fight for the divine.
It seems like it's all about... It's Wendigo, right? Oh, geez, that's not what I want to do. How do I put away my... That's not what I want to do. C, B, X... Put away my weapon. Hey, Faye, you're looking pretty divine today. Well, let's talk to everyone here now. Red Prince?
Well, well. Look what the cat dragged in. A god, no less.
Oh, what?
He smiles at you fondly as he takes you by the hand.
You've done us proud. You saved the world, didn't you?
Oh, we didn't do it. I didn't do it alone.
No. We were all of us instrumental. But
Well, I had a different
only
attitude.
one walked away with divinity. I'm glad it was you.
Oh, yeah. Where do you want to... Where you'd like Lady Vengeance to bring him to?
Home, if you don't mind. After all, I've dragons to raise. I need to teach them to be good boys and girls before they set the entire world on fire. There may be an accident or two along the way. Please don't.
I had burned a few civilizations down.
I do so long to see my palace again. The Forbidden City. The scents of spices and incense. The sound of sitars in far-off rooms. To sit all day in perfumed shade and watch the white of the marble change with the journey of the sun. But above all, I long to be with Sadher. Long to finally have the time to love.
Wish him the brightest of futures.
Oh, but before you go, remember how when we first met, I took you by the jaw to inspect your teeth?
I'd almost forgotten.
Not something one forgets in a hurry. Now, if you recall, as per your own testimony, you can groom, but alas, you've no culinary skills whatsoever, and you lack a sense of fashion. Far from ideal. Still, I'm nothing if not a tolerant man who believes in individual growth. I'm sure the journey taught you much. As such, I'd like to offer you what I denied you before, the opportunity to become
Really?
my slave. What say you?
Does he realize he's asking God to be his slave?
Well, only the best for the Red Prince. Surely
Yeah,
you
of course.
must realize that by now.
Yeah, of course. Malady, how about you?
Malady stands tall and proud, sunlight sparkling off her mask. From here, she looks almost angelic.
Well, here we are again. You, me, and the ship I've saved from ruin for your personal benefit. I'd say you owe me, but why state the obvious? Let an eye fool, your holiness. I expect it's the last we'll see of each other for some time.
She turns to you, arms crossed, and grins.
Look at you. Magnificent.
You don't look too bad yourself.
Actually, I've never looked
The only thing I'm
better.
curious about with the endings is how many of them actually matter. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the differences are between all of them.
Except for one small thing.
She fingers the mask covering her face. For a moment, it seems as though she's about to remove it, but instead, she places a hand on your shoulder.
We've come a long way together. I did my best by you all the way. I sacrificed much. I'd give even more to see you become exactly what you've become. Soon, I'd like to have a little chat about something you can do for me.
Uh-oh.
But I believe that can work.
Can it?
Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same.
Where do you plan to go?
Oh, I don't know. Around and about. Treat myself to some mead, a level 300. I'd say we've earned it. And when the time comes, I'll come find you. Your Holiness.
Oof. Sounds interesting. Yes, you too. Now everyone's going to be happy at me at least. At least Lowe's, the spirit of Lowe's.
The flaming hatchling bout. It
Yep.
takes you a moment to...
Same thing here. Are you proud of me? Everyone here's going to be proud of me. You're not going to spit at my feet, are you? Neep, neep, neep.
The squirrel smiles, nods, and pats you on the leg.
Cool. How about you, Tarquin?
Well, if it isn't the new divine gracing me with his presence. How honored I am.
Oh, yeah? You know who you're speaking to?
Tarquin's smirk wilts into a glow.
I didn't come all this way to show deference. Some friendly advice. All who rise are capable of falling. Gods, the divine, anyone. Remember where you came from. The last thing this world needs is more tyrants.
What will you do now?
That is the question, isn't it? How does one top the greatest feat of necromancy ever conceived? I might have the answer to that. Tell me, have you ever heard of Gustavgen?
I'll pretend yes.
No, of course you
Yeah,
wouldn't.
there you go.
It's a written language, unreadable to most, but myself naturally. It comes from a mysterious race from another world. Beings that feed on minds. I intend to seek them out. This Gustavgen seems to guard portals to their realm. And once I've uncovered one, well, why settle for being the greatest mind in just one world? And there's another for the taking.
Yeah, you said something similar before. How about you, Gareth? You're feeling a lot better, aren't you?
Amazing I'm still here. That we're still here. That Lucian... Well, that relationship always was complicated, wasn't it? You're so much like him. My instincts tell me to kneel to the new divine. I've done so before, after all.
I'd say we don't want unquestioned devotion.
I can't drive myself to do it again.
Demand any... No.
Gareth beams. For the first time, he is his own man. Yet his enthusiasm is not a man's, but a child's.
A friend, yes. That I know how to be.
For a moment, his mind wanders to memories of friends and enemies, of Malady and Magisters, of demons and divinity. He is then in the...
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm not going to do... I thought maybe I would do all the
smiles.
endings, but no, they're going to take a long time, and I don't have all night to do that. So I'm going to probably cut them up anyway.
Friends.
What happens for him next?
I find a way to fit. I wasn't just content to lurk in Lucian's shadow. I was his shadow. Now I stand in the sun as my own man. I just don't know who that man is. And so I find out. My goal is to have a goal. If that makes sense at all. And if it doesn't, well, that's all I've got.
Yeah, I can't do all endings tonight. It's the one that's taking me a while, too.
There you are.
Darling.
Come, let me take a look at you. I've never known a god before they became divine. I was curious if it would have changed you.
She gives you a long, assessing look, but makes no immediate comment.
Say you don't feel changed at all.
Really?
She paces around you like a cat, looking you over.
Well, you certainly look the same. But there's something in the air around you. It vibrates ever so slightly. There's magic in it. Power. Don't you feel it?
Say you do, but you feel unchanged in your soul and mind.
Maybe you should give it a bit of time. I imagine it takes almighty power a little while to settle
Which
in.
will you do?
That quite depends on you, I suppose. Is a deity permitted to mingle among us mortals?
She laughs, and it's music to your soul.
I certainly hope so. We love each other after all.
A kiss, and oh, how sweet she tastes.
Oh.
Love conquers even divinity.
I don't know about that one. Ifan.
Ifan gives you an appraising glance. Curiosity mingled with an emotion you can't quite put your finger on. Reflected in the mirror of his eyes, you see yourself, majestic, powerful, emanating an aura of purest source. Ivan's lip curls slightly, and he looks away.
So, you're it. Our new divine. I truly hope you'll do better than Lucian. Be better.
I'm never going to say something like this. Tell him you'll do your best.
You'll need to do even better than that. But if anyone can, I believe it's you. If I can give one last piece of advice, remember that you serve the people, not the other way around.
What will you do?
I need to fix what my actions destroyed. I'm going home. I'm going to return to the forests where I grew up, where the death fog detonated. I'm going to plant new seeds and see fresh shoots spring from the earth. Maybe we'll see each other again sometime.
He pauses, as if about to say something else, then shakes his head. With one last nod, he whistles up his soul wolf and lopes away.
Oh, he goes away anyway. How about you? You gonna be proud of me?
Blows away and curtseys in playful reverence. Her spectral gaze twinkles.
She looks nude or something. Oh no, she's wearing underwear. How about you, Han?
You're the new divine. That's so cool. What's it like?
Let's see. Let's tap your head and Divinity revealed an archive of knowledge.
Oh, that sounds more boring than I thought it would. There's also the matter of my payment for all the stuff I've done for you. That'll be...
He taps his fingers and mouths silently while he counts, until he
The
arrives
hell?
at an acceptable figure.
1,300,000 dozen and 50 teen gold pieces. Now pay up.
Tell him we got a better idea.
Oh yeah? What's that?
Tell him he is a true warrior and the divine is in need of a bodyguard.
Han ponders your suggestion for all of a second.
You got it. Everybody better watch out. Han'll get you if you come too close. But you better believe the bill for that will be a doozy.
I never even actually used you or anything. Well, let's end this one then. Oh wait, in the wrong direction. No. This way. This way, Fane, the divine. Let's go and... It's probably going to be the same conversation here, though. Maybe I can do one more. Maybe. Alright.
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again.
It's a little bit different, I guess. I see the dimension a deeply dependable ally.
I will always be an ally to those that carry swords. To those
Okay, it
whose
is different,
blood
actually.
Of the heroes of old. And so, as always, I am at the ready.
Alright, how is it possible she's unharmed?
Consider me to
Yeah,
be
same thing.
feel better than you.
You look out to the endless beyond. The sun's light plays upon the waves, just as it always did. The sails flutter in the wind, just as they always will. And yet, something is different. You are different. And with a start, you realize where you must go next. You speak the command to the Lady Vengeance, and another chapter begins.
Nope, we still got another ending here.
War raged on.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going to do them all
Arx
tonight.
remained the center of power as the races united behind the divine. But the Voidwoken attacks continued, as they did elsewhere.
Seems like nothing ever gets
Arx would
fixed.
see many more long years of war. The ancient empire of lizards became one of the pillars of the new divine alliance.
That's Sada and the Red Prince.
The houses of war and of shadows were particularly useful in the fight against the God King. The empire used the war to expand its territory. With Justinia dead, the Dwarven kingdom descended into chaos.
Whoa.
But although they did not join the Divine Alliance, many joined the fight against the Void, and did their people great honor in battle and in death. With Lucian gone, the elves reluctantly rejoined the Divine Alliance. Their place in the war on the Void would entirely depend on the integrity of the new Divine.
Oh,
And on the integrity of the elven Godwoken who did not ascend.
that's Sibyl? Or is that like the... Was that
And
going to
here
be
and there,
Sibyl?
across the world, what was left of the Black Ring fought on.
He's got hands on his belt. What
The
the...
island of Fort Joy remained a sorcerer's paradise, a place of exile for those whose sorcery threatened to bring in the Void. For their well-being, its residents depended entirely on the benevolence of the new divine. Reaper's Coast struggled on. The farms and the fisheries fought to feed the people against the void-woken blight. The black pits took fire.
Ooh.
The oil there burns still.
Damn, that's no good. I remember that. Man, it's going through everything.
Driftwood teetered on the edge of starvation until the night the Voidwoken came from the sea.
Sounds like everyone got
All
annihilated.
were killed. This did, however, put an end to the
Well,
famine.
yeah, because they're all dead. That's an odd way to put it.
The nameless isle had vanished.
Okay.
Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Arks battled on. Sir Gareth thanked the surviving Seekers for their service and gave them their freedom.
He looks different in this
Disillusioned with
picture.
ongoing war, he set out alone to find a new purpose.
All right, we're
He
getting
would
everything.
never stop seeking.
I don't have a purpose.
Young Han grew up a warrior and became one of the Alliance's greatest generals. But even he could not win the war.
Yep. Seems like that was pointless, almost.
With a new divine at the helm, Malady had a powerful ally. But she was in no hurry to call in her favor. After all, it might be the last thing she ever did.
I wonder what her favor would be. What, requesting death or something? Ah.
Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history,
Jesus
Tarquin
Christ.
found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. Ahu the wizard served the new
Oh my
divine with
God, this is
honor,
a long
wisdom,
one.
and an at times unnerving feline elegance. Jehan the demon hunter never stopped hunting for demons.
Okay. Wow, that's short.
Sahala sought to strengthen the Elven alliance with the new divine. Her powers of sight proved useful in the ongoing war against the Void.
Powers of
But
sight.
she could never be sure that the new divine trusted her.
Okay, this is going into way more detail than I thought.
Tova, her mother, was Sahala's most trusted warrior.
Hey, Ifan.
With a small band of elves, Ifan ben Medst replanted the lost forests. After the first fresh shoots broke the earth, Ifan returned to the war, leading the elves in service of the divine. Some say Afrit, his soul wolf, walks the forest still. Sabine
Man, she
wandered
looks
the world.
really different
She
here.
became a household name, famed the realm over as a traveling hero, celebrated wherever she went. Enjoying life to the fullest, she was truly and finally free. On his return to the Empire, the Red Prince was hailed a hero.
Well, yeah, of course
He
it would
married
be.
Sada, and they had many more dragons. Soon, the prince became the emperor. Faced with dragons, the Void did not gain the upper hand in the Empire. And then there was you.
Oh, Fane.
You, Fane, the eternal divine. What did you do with your power? What kind of divine were you as the world battled on?
Oh, you tell me.
Did you show mercy or strength? Did you sacrifice
I'm
others
supposed
as
to write my
Lucian
own,
had
like,
done?
after
Did you
story.
regret becoming divine? Did you wish you'd surrendered the power that runs through your veins and sealed the veil? Only you know the truth.
Not really.
Only you know if you atone for your sins.
Oh my God, talk about sins again. Whew, there we go. Once again, it's back here. with the same credits again. So we're gonna press on that one. I'll try one more. I'll meet you at that one. All right. Give the source back to all peoples. Release the divinity into a world where everyone is divine. No one is divine. All right. Let's see what this one is. The adventure begins. One for all. All right, you got your thing. I'll do one more and then I'll stop for now and then I'll finish the rest of them later. But I'm pretty sure at least one of them is the same as, you know, the God King thing.
And so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated
Yes,
attempt
I know.
to rid the world of the Godwoken. When the dust settled, no new divine had risen. Instead, all source was released into the world for all the people and every creature to share. Everyone was now a sorcerer. And united, the peoples of Rivellon pushed back the God King into the very depths of the void.
That actually sounds better.
This ushered in a new golden age of peace and prosperity. But alas, it was not to last. With many greedy for wealth, power, and position.
Sounds like there is no
struggles
good
began
ending.
anew. Source, the very language of creation, was used in violence once more. The never-ending contest for power continued.
As for you?
As for me,
Yeah?
I was freed of the tyranny of the God King. To atone for my sins in this world, I spent the rest of my days taking care of the sick and elderly.
Well, there you go.
I would tell the story of the Godwoken to anyone who would listen. The story of the greatest heroes Rivellon had ever known. The heroes who chose not to close the veil.
Well, here we are again. Now what does everyone think of me here? I'm not divine.
Malady stands tall and proud, sunlight sparkling off her mask. From here, she looks almost
Seems like a
angelic.
similar ending.
Well, here we are again. You, me,
Yes.
what an eyeful. I expect it's the last we'll see. I have a lot of planning to do. Now that there's not to be a new divinity.
She drums her fingers testily on her crossed arms.
All that work, all that effort tossed into the gutter like a malformed child.
Let's tell her the world's better off without an almighty tyrant.
You say that now. Let's see how you feel when you realize the true implication of a world filled with sorcerers. Never mind. I'll find another way. I always do.
She fingers the mask covering her face. For a moment,
Yes, I
it
see
seems
this one.
We've come a long way together.
She looks you up and
I guess this will have to do. Take a moment, why don't you? Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. Perhaps our paths will cross
Oops,
again
whatever.
until we find out.
All right, Red Prince, what do you have to say to me?
Well, look what the cat dragged in. A Godwoken. But what good is it to be Godwoken when Source is now a free-for-all, and there is no divinity to be had?
Say it feels good to no longer be Godwoken, but free instead.
Don't fool yourself. In the absence of a master will rise.
Seems more like,
King, God.
nothing bad has happened, but something bad might happen.
As long as there is power, there is conflict. Source for all, it is but the dream of an idiot who will soon wake to find his wrists in shackles. In that sense, I suppose I should look upon it all as an opportunity. People crave authority. They'll beg for a sorcerer king
Red
like
Rex.
me.
You being able to become Red Rex, the second Brachus.
Please, I'm not a dilettante.
he sighs, which seems to ease his surly countenance.
But come, we've travelled too long by one another's side to end with an argument.
Sounds like, well, I'm not happy, but I'm not angry.
We'll not part on bad terms, will we?
Where are you heading?
Home. After all I've dragged,
Yes.
there may be an accident.
Yeah.
I do so long to see my palace again. The Forbidden City. The scents of spices and incense. The sound of sitars in far-off rooms. To sit all day in perfumed shade and watch the white of the marble change with the journey of the sun. But above all, I long to be with Sadher. Long to
Wishing the
finally
brightest
have the time
futures.
to love. Oh, but before you go, remember how when we first met, I took you by the jaw.
Yes,
to
that's I remember all
inspect
too
it,
well.
Not something one forgets. Now, if you were still, what say?
Shake your head. Sigh deeply. Hit him on the nose.
Taken quite by surprise,
There,
he
doing a different
staggers
one.
back, blood dripping down his nostrils.
I take that as a no, then. Fair enough. But next time, please, use your words.
Haha, no. I will not use my words. Alright, let's go talk to Tarquin, Gareth. All the good people. I'm pretty sure the conversations here are not going to be too dissimilar from what I just had. So I'm going to skip ones I've already seen.
Bold move, I'll grant you that. I didn't think anyone considered the little people anymore.
I think it's a new world.
I don't know yet. Perhaps peace will reign and all will be equal. Or perhaps you've bestowed great power on undeserving children and turned them loose on each other. Time will tell.
What do you do
I'm
now?
sure that is the question. No, I intend.
Yep, it's the same thing. Gareth, how about you?
I'm buzzing.
What?
I don't know how else to describe it. But what you did, I want to say it was brave. Maybe it was, but it wasn't right.
Gareth is still. For a moment, his mind wanders to memories of friends and enemies, of Malady and Magisters, of demons and divinity. He is then present.
Okay, it's
once
kind of a
more,
mix of both.
though hardly animated.
The people of Rivellon will call you their savior. The power is in them, in all of them. And there will come a time when they rebel, and the price will be high.
Promise you will lead the people true.
A meaningless promise. You've blessed them and cursed them with a single choice. You didn't reveal your altruism. You revealed your greed. Power will be shared among the evil and the good, the light and the dark, the sky and the earth. They will enjoy equal source light, yes, but they will not be equal.
Alright, what will you do?
I find a way to fit. I wasn't just content to lurk in Lucian's shadow. I was his shadow. Now I stand in the sun as my own man. I just don't know who that man is. So I find out, on my own, away from the storm that surely comes. The God King is defeated, but the door to the void is open, left there by the man I once thought would be divine.
Uh-huh. You don't seem happy either. Well, how are you, Sibyl?
So, here we are, my darling.
Oh,
Sorcerers like everyone else in the realm. A bit boring to be so unexceptional all of a sudden, isn't it? Then again, I suppose they can't fit all of us in Fort Joy.
say that, last Fort Joy seems like a lifetime ago.
It does, doesn't it? Good times, though. We've come to the brink.
Good
of back
times, good
again
times.
So many times on this adventure. I only hope what awaits the world is something more equitable. Bit more sun, bit less rain. Even though I love the rain.
What will you do?
That quite depends on you, I suppose.
She laughs, and it's music to your soul.
We want each other, after all. We love each other, after all. Let others play the game of gods. Love conquers even divinity.
Well, she's happy. I don't know what you're gonna think, though. Ifin?
Ifan beams at you, his blood-streaked face more jubilant than you've
Huh?
ever seen it. He reaches out and
Oh,
pulls you into
wow.
a bear hug, clapping you on the back.
He's like, oh yeah, fuck rulers.
We did it. The odds were against us. Hell, the gods were against us. And still we did
What
it.
happened to Lucian exactly?
He reaches out his hand to grasp yours. Source crackles between you and in the air all around you. The world has changed.
Now we'll see something. We'll see what happens when everyone can harness their own divinity.
Say that you can't wait to see that.
Me either. I knew it. From the first time I met you, I knew you were special. And this
Getting
proves
mixed
it.
messages from people here.
With a world full of sorcerers, we should be able to make short work of the Voidwoken.
Tell him you're more than ready for a peaceful world.
Ifan nods, but his mind is elsewhere already. He looks different somehow. A vestige of command has returned to this ex-soldier.
We'll need supplies. Source-forged steel, war owls, a central command from which to run sorties. What do you think? Is Arx the right location?
Seeing the look on your face, he laughs and shakes his head.
Old habits die hard, but I'm willing to bet these Voidwoken will die harder.
With that, Ifan salutes you. He whistles up his soul wolf and strides off to make arrangements, looking from head to toe every bit a leader of men.
Cool. I don't feel like going up to the to Beast, so I'm just gonna talk to you.
Smiles broadly and casts her gaze over the ship's top deck. She sighs, relieved, and nods.
And how about you? Okay, you, and then I end this journey, and
I
I'll.
feel weird, like I've got ants crawling in my belly.
Is that how Source feels?
There is a matter I must attend to, however. My payment for all
Oh
the
my
stuff
God.
I've done for you. That will be
He taps his fingers and mouths.
1,300,000 dozen and 50 gold pieces. Now pay up.
Okay, I'm not sure that's the real number.
It is so. But if you can't pay me in money, then I'll just have to insist you keep me on until you can. So, what position can you offer?
You'll be an advisor.
Han ponders your suggestion for all of a second.
You got it. But you better believe the bill for that.
Yeah, doozy, blah, blah. The Phoenix. I'm not going to talk to the Phoenix this time. It doesn't change anything. Hello? I forgot the ship's goddamn name. Lady Vengeance. Hello, Lady Vengeance.
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again.
Alright, so you're glad to see all the trouble behind you.
I cannot say whether the future brings peace or pain, but I will always be an ally to those that carry swords, to those whose blood is of the heroes of old. And so, as always, I am at the ready.
And let's go.
You look out to the endless
Okay,
beyond.
it's going to be the same
The
answer
sun's
for the
light
other
plays
one.
upon the waves, just as it always did. The sails flutter in the wind, just as they always will. And yet, something is different. You are different. And with a start, you realize where you must go next.
Another chapter. Alright, let's see this epilogue.
The world was at peace, at least for now.
Of course.
With its significance as the seat of divinity diminished, Arx fell into decline, and within 7 generations, had
7?
emptied.
How many more places are there in this world?
Few were as prepared for the new world as the lizardkin of the ancient empire. With power spread equally throughout the world, the advantage lay with those who knew how to steal it, and at this, the lizards excelled.
Goddamn lizards.
With their queen dead and the Voidwoken gone, the dwarves held the greatest party in the history of dwarfdom. A new king took the throne, the local brewer.
Nice.
6 days later, he was stabbed
Okay,
to
fine.
death with a mutton fork.
Never mind.
With their power returned, the elves reclaimed their lands from the Death Fog and began to rebuild. Soon they would split as 2 factions sought power. One to bring back the trees, the other to bring back the scions.
Whoopsies. Looks like I split the L's.
A dwarven joke did the rounds. It ends with the punchline, "So Lucian dropped the Death Fog on them again."
What? Okay then.
Only the elven Godwoken could bring the elves together once more. And in a dark forest on the far side of a desert, well beyond the high seas, the Black Ring came together once more.
Uh-oh. I assume that's not good.
The island of Fort Joy, the old redoute of the Source King Brachus Rex, was turned over to the people of Driftwood to use as they wished.
What are they
They
going to do with
turned
it?
it into a holiday resort.
Okay, there you go. I was not actually expecting that.
Reaper's Coast prospered.
Nice.
The fisheries returned,
Woot.
and the fertile farmlands produced the greatest harvests the surviving farmers had ever seen.
What's a good ending? What's a bad ending in this game even?
Blood Moon Island became particularly fecund, its soil producing the greatest crops.
Fecund? I've actually never heard that
particularly
word.
crimson-fleshed orange grown on the island became a delicacy across half the world.
Cool.
The black pits took fire. The oil there burns still.
It's always going to happen there at the Black Pits.
Driftwood became a center of industry, trade, and transport.
Nice. They prospered.
After a long and harrowing journey, Lovric the Waiter arrived in Sicil, where he opened a tavern. The meaty stew became famed almost as much for its food as it was for its greasy, abusive owner.
This was a random one I wasn't anticipating.
Lagan left his over-demanding wife and began a relationship with a local bard.
I don't even remember
In the
these
spirit
people.
of loving generosity, he returned the ring to his now ex-wife. In a fit of rage, she threw it into the sea. You would never forget Dorothea's kiss.
I remember you.
Dorothea herself left Driftwood for the ancient empire, ever in search of the perfect kiss. She never found it, although once or twice she came
What does
close.
that even mean?
The nameless isle had vanished.
Seems like this is always gonna be.
Although only open water remained,
Yeah,
by
it's gonna be always the
instinct,
fate of the
ships
nameless
would
isle.
steer
Always
clear.
gonna disappear.
None of the captains could articulate why. Millennia later, adventurers
Millennia?
would come in search of the legendary divine city of Arx and the crypt of the great Lucian. None would pass the path of blood.
Lots of death. Gareth.
Sir Gareth thanked the surviving Seekers for their service and gave them their freedom. Disillusioned with the rising chaos, he set out alone
And
to
he
find
didn't
a
find
new
it.
purpose. He would never stop seeking. Young Han went into the theatre and became one of the realm's
Okay.
most popular actors.
Interesting.
With no new divine, Malady found herself in a predicament. She had an important problem to solve, but no ally strong enough to call upon, and so her search
What
continued.
if we'll ever learn what the hell she wants?
Having performed the greatest
Same
act of
thing,
necromancy
Tarquin.
in history,
Yeah.
Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane
He's
of
always gonna be stay with
existence.
Tarquin.
One day he vanished and was never seen again. With the source released to the world, Ahu the wizard spent more and more time as a cat. One day he decided he would not change back.
Cool. Just don't get hit by like a horse-drawn carriage.
Jehan the demon hunter found himself at a loose end. So he opened a museum of demonic artifacts.
Oh, that's something.
After it burned down, with Jehan inside, witnesses claimed that the flames
okay,
were
never
the
mind, he
color
died.
of blood. As the forests grew anew and the elves were equals at last, Sahala shared elven knowledge of source with the world. But some elves disagreed and plotted against her.
Oh, well, I guess one day she'll get assassinated.
Chief amongst her opponents was Tova, Sahala's own mother.
Uh-oh.
With a small band of elves, Ifan Ben Mezd replanted the lost
Yeah, it's
elven
similar.
forests. After the first fresh shoots broke the earth, he disappeared and was never seen again. Some say Afrit, his soul wolf, walks the
All right,
forest
so it's
still.
similar to the other one, kind of. Seville.
Sabine wandered the world. She became a household name.
All right, same
famed
thing.
the realm over as a
Guess
traveling
was there with
hero,
fame.
celebrated wherever she went. Enjoying life to the fullest, she was truly and finally free. The Red Prince came home a hero. With Sada, he had more dragons. Soon, Prince became emperor,
Similar.
one who would not use his dragons for conquest. His realm knew peace, and the world did not
Nice. And me.
burn. And then there was you.
His faces are so
You
weird.
returned to the world a sorcerer among many. Your future was yours to decide. Did you accept your new status with humility? Only you know the truth.
Is that Fane or the
You
God King?
and one other. But of him you are free.
That is the God
The
King.
God King no longer calls your name. He no longer whispers your shame. Only you know if you atone for your sins.
Alright, well, I'm going to stop here with this ending because it takes a while to do them. So I'll see if they are interesting, and then I'll do my one final wrap-up of this series of videos. So I'll meet you then. Alright, I'm back. It's Friday, and just going to chill a little bit by looking at the rest of the endings of Divinity Original Sin 2. I have only 3 left. Allow yourself and all the world be purged of its source. I figured we could go and see all of them. Might as well, since I have the time for it. And I just want to finish off this. So let's allow myself to be purged of its source. Let's see all the endings. Now, of course, if one of them is similar to the other one, then I'm going to skip it out. But we'll see the ones that are different and edit it all together. And then that'll be the end of this Let's Play. Officially, that is.
So it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt.
Of course,
to rid the world
it always
of
starts like that.
Dallas the Hammer, the secret eternal, purged the Godwoken and used the source to close the veil to the void.
It's so loud here compared to the rest of the game.
Statues in memory of the Godwoken who sacrificed their source were erected all across Rivellon. They would never be forgotten.
I wonder how they're going to be reacting.
The half-demon Malady took pity on the soulless Godwoken
Oh, yeah.
silent monks
Technically,
and
we're
brought
silent
them
monks.
to the Hall of Echoes. There, from the scraps of their souls that remained, she restored them to life. Sorcerers no more, they lived out the rest of their lives, freed of the burden of being the Godwoken, freed from the weight of the world. As for me,
yeah, as for you,
I was already free, and so were the others. The Godwoken sacrifice severed the bond between the Sworn and the God King. To atone for my sins, I spent the rest of my days taking care of the sick and elderly.
once again,
Telling the story of the Godwoken, that the world may never forget the greatest heroes Rivellon had
either
ever
everyone
known.
gets source or no one has source. All right, now what do we have here? After, purging all source.
Malady stands tall and
Yes,
proud.
we know.
Sunlight sparkles.
Ah, there you are. More than a silent monstrosity, less than a god.
At least we're not a silent monk.
In the end, I'm not totally convinced it was worth my while to restore your consciousness, seeing what you've done with it so far.
Wait, what have I done so far? What do you know that I don't?
Where did I go wrong?
Seriously, sorry to disappoint her, but you had to do what's right. Tell her she might find a good ally in Lucian. Isn't that worth something? Oh, Lucian's still here. Say you're sorry to disappoint her, but you had to do what was right.
I'd been counting on sacrificing my health and happiness for a future god, you know, not a silent monk in waiting.
You were why to sacrifice everything?
Never mind. I'll find another way. I always do.
She fingers the mask, covering
Yes, we
her
know.
We've come a long way together.
Yep.
I didn't.
She looks you up.
I guess this will have to do. Take
Mhm.
a moment, why don't you? Relax, enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same.
Yeah, same
I
thing.
don't know, around and about. Treat myself to some mead.
Oh, that's a bit different.
300.
A lover or
That's everything.
300?
Perhaps our paths will cross again. Perhaps not, until we find out.
Well, I don't think the Red Princess is going to be too happy about it. Definitely not.
Well, well, look what the cat
Mhm.
dragged in. A silent monk. At least that's what you'd be if it weren't for Malady.
I wonder what Malady did to keep you from being purged.
She's Malady, the one and only. She is greater, I dare say, than we dare dream.
That's what he thinks about Lucian's return.
Like I would about the return of the codpiece, that it's highly unfashionable. The man's a man, all too prone to the weaknesses of the heart. We've seen the results of his errors firsthand. I give it a week before he errs anew.
How about Sada, huh?
Yes, well, that's to say, that's love, not...
Isn't love a kind of weakness?
All right, all right. Besides, Lucian. Perhaps even a god deserves a second chance. Even if he is a god.
Well, that's just
now,
it. He's not even a god. He can't really do much.
As for myself, I'm counting on a second chance as well.
Hmm?
Why, I mean my empire.
Ah, okay.
I intend to go home as soon as I can. After all, I've dragons to raise.
Yep, I know.
There may be an
Yes,
I
of
so
course.
long to see my path.
Yep.
To sit all day and perked
Yep.
above all, I long to be with Sadher.
Bright future.
But
Yes.
remember how when we first
Uh-huh.
met, I took
That was
you
a
by
while
the jaw?
ago.
A while, not ages. Now, if you'll recall, as per your own testimony,
Yes.
you can still
Be a
What's
slave. Roy eyes and walk away.
But where are you going? Really? It's the lack of manners that I find so unforgivably disgraceful.
There, I've done all of them now with him pretty much. I mean, probably, you know, I'm surprised we can still see. This guy doesn't care one way or another, does he, Tarquin? Because he's just bored of this world as it is.
I always thought that those who resorted to self-sacrifice were lacking in imagination. I must admit, I was rather
Okay, it's
noble
the same
of you.
thing. That gets it's boring, right?
A world without sorts
Okay,
is
yeah.
one that will need individuals of wit and intellect.
All right, it's a little bit different at least.
Sharp mind is the only magic now. I believe I shall enjoy this new world.
Oh, he's actually going to enjoy it. All right.
That is the question, isn't it? How does no?
All right, it's the same thing. What do you think?
The squirrel smiles, nods, and pats you on the leg.
All right, you seem fine with it. How about you, Gareth, with no source?
The purging that once silenced you remains on your mind as you approach Gareth. You are grateful for Malady's miraculous touch. Without it, there would be no you.
Amazing, I'm still here. That you're here. And that you might still speak. That Lucian...
You were a devotee to Lucian. So you thought he would be happy to serve Lucian once more. Thank him for his service to the Seekers.
I only did what I was meant to do. I don't deserve thanks. I gave only the bare minimum. And still I strayed quite far.
Gareth shakes his head vigorously in response to his own
At
emotion.
least he has emotions.
Self-pity is as dangerous as any man I have battled, Alexander included. In this new world, this world without the seven gods, it's a foe I plan to defeat for good.
So it's basically an internal enemy about Lucian.
Aside from a single blink, Gareth stands remarkably still.
Time. Time has a way of changing someone. Lucian did not start as the man he became. Nor is the man I am now the same as him that once served at the side of a divine. Lucian doesn't need me. And believe me when I say, I no longer need
This seems to be the best ending for a Gareth.
I find a way to fit. I wasn't just content to lurk in Lucian's shadow. I was his shadow. Now I stand in the sun as my own man. I just don't know who.
Yeah, well, according to the epilogue, you never find out who that man is anyway.
So I find out. My goal is to have a goal. If that makes sense at all.
If I can't serve anyone, I don't know what to do with my life.
That's all I've got.
All right, Sibyl.
Darling, you're here,
Well,
and I'm here.
yes, you are.
If just barely. Thank the gods or whomever for Malady.
They were extremely glad not to find her a silent monk.
One can hardly get to the truth without one's tongue, after all.
The shadow of a smile passes over her lips.
I'm glad too.
What will you do now?
That
Yes.
quite
She laughs.
But we want each other. We love each other.
Yep.
Let others play the game of gods. Love conquers even divinity.
I guess I can't ask about Lucian then, eh?
Sibyl cups your cheek in her hand, and in her soft cat's eyes, you can read the prospect of tender days to come.
Well, apparently not, because she seems to do other things. All right, Ifin, you're the one who's the most upset about Lucian, so
Ah, the betrayal.
there we go.
Ifan folds his arms and steps back from you, as if your presence is toxic.
I suppose this is proof I've got
Yeah,
really
we're back
bad
here,
taste in
right?
friends.
He's the only one who's really upset.
After all that we've been through since Fort Joy, after all that, to end up with Lucian once more, to settle for abject corruption over change.
He fixes you with a steely gaze, eyes burnished and shining like pebbles of hatred.
Tell Ifin it was the best option for Rivellon.
It was absolutely not. You listened to Lucian. You obeyed Lucian. After everything he did, you allowed him to take our source. And now you have restored a tyrant to power. I intend to spend the remainder of my days
That was similar to
seeking
the other
undo
one.
what you have done. It may not be possible, but when did that ever stop me before?
Ifan pauses, as if about to say something else, then shakes his head.
Alright, we've seen that one. How about Lowe's? I don't know.
Lucy looks at you intently, as though searching for defects. She smiles and inclines her head.
Alright. How about you? Hands.
Are you okay? You don't look okay.
I mean, I'm all bone. Oh, that's it? I guess I have nothing special because they want to be my bodyguard. No, not that way. This way to speak to the Lady Vengeance. And then we'll have two more, but I have a feeling at least one of them is similar to the other. The only one I'm curious about is to keep the God King at bay, but to bring the Eternals back.
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again.
Say you're glad to see the trouble right in front of you.
I cannot say whether the
Yeah, we've seen
future
this one.
brings- I am at the ready.
And
You
depart.
look out to the endless beyond.
Yes.
And with a start, you realize
Yep,
where-
we've done that. All right. Now let's watch this.
At last, the world was at peace.
For now, right?
As the races united behind Lucian, Arx remained the center of power.
Mm-hmm.
The ancient Lizard Empire opened its gates. The houses disbanded, and the Empire adopted a pluralist
Wait, hold on a
quasi-democracy.
second. That's interesting.
Anyone could vote for whoever they pleased, as long as the House of Shadows approved.
Oh. The shadow government, pretty much. Dwarves.
With their queen dead and the Voidwoken gone,
There we go.
the dwarves held the greatest party in the history of dwarfdom.
Let me guess.
A new king took the throne.
Yep.
The local
Stabbed
brewer.
6 days later.
6 days later,
Yeah.
he was stabbed to death with a mutton fork.
Same thing. Dwarves are pretty weird and not very proper creatures.
Lucian made amends to the elves.
Mm-hmm.
He gave them lands and vast riches from the coffers of the old
Well,
divine
that's something.
order. But the elves never forgave him.
They
They
don't
would
have
not
to.
trust humans again.
They don't have to. At least he tried. All right.
And in a dark forest on the far side of a desert, well
The Black
beyond the
Ring.
high seas, the Black Ring came together once more.
This feels like they're trying to set up for another game because it's like, oh, the Black Ring. The Black Ring.
The island of Fort Joy, the old redoute of the Source King Brachus Rex, was turned over to the people of Driftwood to use as they wished.
Resort.
They turned it
Yeah.
into a holiday resort. Reaper's Coast prospered.
Mm-hmm. So it's a similar thing. Basically, get rid of Source and Driftwood is great. Reaper's Coast is great.
The fisheries returned, and the fertile farmlands produced the greatest harvests the surviving farmers had ever seen.
Woot woot.
Blood Moon Island became particularly fecund.
This is very
its
similar.
soil producing the greatest crops. A particularly crimson-fleshed orange grown on the island became a delicacy across half the world.
Half the world. Half of it.
The Black Pits took fire. The oil there burns.
The Black
still.
Pits are always going to be on fire. I mean, I kind of ignited it during that fight.
Driftwood became a center of industry, trade, and transport.
Now of individual characters. Yeah, there we go.
After a long and harrowing journey, Lovric the Waiter arrived in Sicil, where he opened a tavern. The meaty stew became famed almost as much for its food as it was for its greasy, abusive owner.
Yeah, we're going to get a lot of repeats here, unfortunately. I don't remember these
Lagan
people.
left his over-demanding wife and began a relationship
Okay, wait.
with a local bard.
Him?
In the spirit of loving generosity, he returned
Oh, I
the ring
remember
to his
him.
now ex-wife. In a fit of rage,
I remember.
she threw it
Didn't
into
I
the
have
sea.
to get the ring from the sea? From I don't know if it was the ocean or not. And
You would never forget Dorothea's
I had to
kiss.
fight the Voidwoken. I had a lot of trouble with that
Dorothea
one.
herself left Driftwood
Yeah, I
for the
remember it now.
ancient
It was in
empire,
Driftwood, like
ever
right
in
outside
search of the
Driftwood.
perfect kiss. She never found it, although once or twice she came close.
Yes, the nameless
nameless
isles always
isle had
vanishes.
vanished.
It's the same
Although
thing.
only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why.
I think there was something here once, but I don't know. The waters must be cursed.
Arx became a great metropolis, famed for its prosperity, its culture, its diversity, and the willingness of its denizens to stab each other in the back for the slightest advantage.
That would happen regardless. That has nothing to do with anything. Gareth, blah, blah,
Sir
blah.
Gareth thanked the surviving Seekers for their service and gave them their freedom.
Looking for a thing, and
Disillusioned
he
with
never
peace,
found it.
he set out alone to
He never
find a
found
new
it.
purpose. He would never stop
Yeah,
seeking.
there you go. Disillusioned with peace.
Young Han went into the theatre
same thing.
and became one of the realm's most popular
Jeez,
actors.
that's a weird drawing of the kid. Malady.
With no new divine, Malady found herself in a predicament.
Whoa.
She had an important problem to solve, but no ally strong enough to call upon.
I feel like there's something
And
missing
so
with her story.
search continued.
Yeah,
Having
I know.
performed the greatest
Blah,
act
blah,
of
blah, blah.
necromancy
Same
in
thing with him.
history,
It never changes.
Tarquin found the new world unchallenging.
He never finds it
He became
challenging.
obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again.
And now... Oh, Aru.
Ahu the wizard
Aru.
became one of Lucian's most trusted advisors once more.
Very cat-like.
He always knew that something had changed in the divine. He never discovered what that was, or if he did, he never said a word.
It's such an odd thing to say. He never really discovered why, but if he did, he didn't really
Jehan
say
the
it.
demon hunter found himself at a loose end. So he opened a museum of
And
demonic
it burned.
artifacts.
He died.
He made a fortune.
Oh, no, he actually prospered. He made a fortune.
With Lucian in power,
Sahala.
Sahala took the elves away from the
What
world.
do you mean away from the world?
They grew strong once more amidst
Okay, I
the
see what you
trees
mean.
of the regrown home forest. Some say her plans for revenge will bring
Oh.
about the end of days.
This is Sahela's revenge plot.
Some say only Tova, her mother, holds her back.
Okay, then. Oh,
Lucian
Lucian.
returned as divine.
This is the only time I've
united the
seen him.
races, and became Lord Emperor of all Rivellon.
Jesus Christ.
Only Dallis knew that he was entirely powerless. Dallis and you.
Yeah, we could beat him up. He's nothing but an old man now.
The Eternal,
Aha.
now known as Dallis, was a secret advisor to Lucian and to his successors. For eons she would walk in the world
Oh, she is an
and
Eternal.
outlive the peoples and all, and wander alone amongst the dying stars.
Oh, wait, hold on. Basically the end of the universe. Alright, Ifin.
With a small band of elves, Ifan
Okay.
Ben Nezd replanted the lost elven forests. After the first fresh shoots broke the earth, he disappeared and was never seen again.
He never undid anything
Some
then.
say Afrit, his soul wolf, walks the forests still.
Same thing with her, probably.
Sabine wandered the world. She became a household
yep.
name, famed the realm over as a traveling hero, celebrated wherever she went. Enjoying life to the fullest, she was truly
And probably the same thing
finally
also
free.
with the Red Prince.
The Red Prince came home a hero. With Sada, he had more dragons.
Yep.
Soon, Prince became emperor, one who would not use his dragons for conquest. His realm knew peace, and the world did not burn.
I mean, why burn it now? And me. Why is it always like
And
just
then
faded from
there was
black?
you.
It's so weird. The others just faded nicely, and this one from black.
In a world of peace, you could live forever.
And it's just also the
Your
freaking
future was yours
staring
to decide.
eyes. I rarely,
But you
I never
were a
used this
sorcerer
mask.
no
I never
more.
saw the point.
Did you accept your new status with gratitude, or
Only
did you
in
rebel?
like 2 instances maybe it helped out.
Only you know the truth. You and one other. But of him you are free. The God King no longer calls your name.
This is
He
similar.
no longer whispers your shame.
The Eternals one will be a bit more interesting.
Only you know if
I'm
you
pretty
atone
sure
for
it's
your
kind of-
sins.
We'll see if it's unique at all. Alright, let's go back. I'll meet you at that choice. It's only going to give you a few minutes, but still, might as well just not show you any bullshit. Alright. Use the power of Divinity to bring back the Eternals, but leave the God King sealed away behind the veil. This is Eternal Salvation. I got a new achievement for that. Now, the next one I'm feeling is going to be similar to the first one I did. I think so. This one
And so it
will probably
is.
share a lot of similarities,
A
but have
tale
only
that began
slight
with my
differences.
own ill-fated attempt
I
to
think.
rid the world of the Godwoken.
God Woken.
The Eternals
Okay, here we
reclaimed
go.
the world.
Reclaim the world.
Dwarves, elves, lizards, and humans
Oh, wait.
all became slaves, ruled over by the Sworn and the Eternals. Relics of the old world remain.
Okay, this is very
but in
similar.
time they crumbled and fell, like the memories of the peoples who had built them. Lost to time, like sand in the wind,
It's very similar to...
but not lost to fame. Fame would never forget. As for me, I was freed of one covenant only to be enslaved once more.
by Fane.
But I am fortunate. I serve Master Fane now. My task, to chronicle the rise and fall of the Godwork.
Okay, so you're the one now doing
This
that.
was their story.
Because I'm pretty sure that was
Master,
Fane before
I
doing the
hope you
writing.
approve.
And I'm divine, but the Eternal now they're slaves. So I'm pretty sure this is not going to be any different than the first one. I'm not even going to look at the last
Malady
one.
stands tall and proud.
Yep.
Well, here we are again. You, me, and the ship I've saved from ruin for your personal benefit. Get an eyeful. It
Yeah.
isn't going to be easy cleaning up this mess you've made. It might not even be possible. I don't know how I could have been so wrong about you. I'm never wrong.
Save what you thought was right. Nothing more, nothing less.
Why bother being right when you can be a god? You'll
Isn't
see,
he a
you
god?
little so-and-so. This isn't over.
He looks like a god.
Until we meet again, all the best to you.
Alright, I know. We're slaves. You're not going to be happy.
The world as we know it will soon come to an end, and welcome an undead wasteland in its stead.
But the Eternals are back. Your people are home. Live long will be at peace, and it will be a paradise again.
The day will come when you realize your mistake, and on that day you'll come crawling back to me in search of absolution. It will be the day we take up arms together once more. May it soon dawn.
Well, he's not against me. He doesn't like the decision, but he said we'll fight together again. That is, yeah, he's not outright refusing me. I mean, the God King's not in charge even.
Tarquin looks like he's about to unleash a cutting remark for a moment, but he thinks better of it and offers a slight bow instead.
Okay, he doesn't even want to talk.
Gareth bows as you near, but seems either unable or unwilling
Okay, this is
to
similar.
The Eternals.
speak. Gareth is still. For a
Yeah.
moment,
I eagerly await.
Alright, similar. You're not going to be happy either.
Sabine twirls her needle, her face set in a defiant scowl.
The void is open and the ancients rise. The sky, the water, the land, all of it diseased like rotting cattle flesh. And you dare wonder why I am angry?
She turns away, still toying.
Yeah, it's similar to the other one, so I won't even do the last one then.
Ah, you.
Ifan folds his arms
Yeah.
and
I suppose this is proof, after all that we've
Yeah.
he fixes you with a steely gaze, eyes burnished and shining like pebbles of hatred.
I don't know. Get
You're
used to
a
it.
fool. I intend to spend the
Yeah.
It may not be, but when did that ever?
Ifan pauses.
Similar, yeah, pretty much similar. Well, the epilogue's the most interesting one. You're gonna spit at my
Lucius
feet?
spits at your
Yep. Pretty much. Do you even care?
Hello, okay?
Yeah, you okay. Alright. Like I said, Beast, meh. He's just too high up. I don't feel like going to him. Alright. You know what? I'm pretty sure the other one's gonna be similar if I refuse
I await
Divinity.
but your word, Master. As I was
Same
called,
stuff.
I am at the ready.
You look out, and with a start, you realize.
Alright.
And what of you?
What? That's it?
What of you, Fane the Eternal, indeed?
Wait, is this what happened last time for the first one too?
You were the key to
Yeah,
it
I think
all.
so. This is basically the incomplete ending, I guess.
You set right the original wrong.
And then you said it wrong all again, you bastard. Yeah, this is
And
similar,
the
I
seven
think.
were punished for their transgression.
Yeah, this is pretty much similar to the first. So I'm not even going to look at the last one because it's going to be the exact same
Are
thing.
you proud of all you achieved?
Yeah, it's like that. It's just Everlock's the same.
Or are you ashamed of your sins?
Why the mask looks so different? And that's it. All right. So I'm not even going to bother going for the other one because I have a feeling it's the same if I didn't take Divinity. All right. That's it for Divinity Original Sin 2. Thanks for anyone, which is probably very few. Oh, that's Lucian's statue over here, who came with me on this long journey, which still was not as long as Persona 5, even though I played it more, but I also skipped out a lot of things and did play it a bit more intensely certain times. 100 and almost 180 hours at this point. So, Carbon, I beat it. That's all I can say about it. I beat the game before I was about to rage quit it, but I beat the game. And yeah, thanks for recommending it. Thanks for gifting it. Mods. I don't know. What kind of mods could I even? I don't have mods. I don't have anything. Maybe one day I can play it. Only Divinity Original Sin 2 support. Yeah, sure, whatever. Maybe one day I'll play with mods. Who knows? But for now, I think I need to put it to rest and move on. So I thank you all again once again. I shall see you in the next long one. Until then, so long.